This is a residential photovoltaic installation, southwestern United States. Uh, they filed a claim because they had numerous appliances failing, sometimes repeatedly, and the appliance chassis were shocking the residents. Um, this was a small house with an $80,000 solar panel system attached to it, which they had taken out a loan on the expectation that they would generate enough electricity to pay back the loan. Maybe there are cases where that makes sense. This turned out to not be one of them, unfortunately, because this is what the disconnect between the PV system and the rest of the electrical system of the house looked like. You might notice that there is no neutral fuse. It's exactly the same situation as we've seen elsewhere, where you have no neutral connection back to the utility. So as long as the utility is present, the system still has some way of keeping the two 120 volt circuits balanced at 120 each instead of fluctuating. But then utility non-payment happens and they pull your meter, at which point the system, your house, is running entirely off the PV system, which means it has no neutral connection at all, which, combined with the bootleg neutrals that were already present in the house, results in every appliance in it becoming live and shocking the residents at apparently random intervals. Of course, there were other problems with this PV installation, including the fact that it was wired incorrectly and in other ways, is wired incorrectly on the wrong side of the meter and did not have the appropriate permitting or reporting back to the utility. So they were in fact generating a great deal of electricity and getting no credit for it at all. That does make your return on investment much, much longer. We find that poor residential PV installation is a pretty pervasive phenomenon, unfortunately. I do I do rather feel bad for people who have $80,000 loans they're never going to pay back. But from an insurance standpoint, there's not much. The damage is only to the appliances that were exposed to over voltage and failed, or under voltage and failed, not to the problems with the PV system are a different set of problems. I think in this particular case, they were lucky that the installer was actually still in business after 5 years. Most of the time, they have, in many cases, residential PV installers have folded by the time you actually discover the problems and you can't pursue.